The April 8th total solar eclipse in Aries was one of the most widely anticipated eclipses that I can personally remember. But I do believe that this lunar eclipse in Pisces, upcoming on September 17th or 18th, 2024, depending on where it is in the world that you are located, is going to be massive. And this energy is going to rival in some ways the energy of that eclipse at the beginning of the year. That is because of the powerhouse of planets and energies that we have involved. I almost said evolved, which is perfect because this is all about our soul's evolution. But the planets that we have involved here, all of the aspects being made, all of the openings of energy that are really inviting us into a deeper connection with our souls and a deeper alignment with our soul path and our soul's mission and dharma moving forward. In this video, we're going to get deeper into these themes. We're going to talk about why this eclipse is so powerful and how it is that you can personally use this energy in order to supercharge your own soul's evolution and step more deeply into alignment with your highest timeline and your highest path forward. We talk a lot on this channel about the fact that 2024 has been a quantum leap year through consciousness. We are quite literally creating those new templates for reality and shifting timelines in a major, major way. These energies are so fluid, and those who follow this channel will be aware of some of the energies we're going to talk about in this video and delve into a bit more deeply that are really supporting the Piscean themes and energies of this full moon. And this ability that we have when we work consciously with these energies to truly align in a powerful and tangible way with our higher selves and our soul's blueprint for this lifetime. The path that our soul laid out before we incarnated into these bodies. Some people may notice as you're moving through this eclipse season that it seems a bit more dramatic than usual. Eclipses are always dramatic. We like to say they eclipse things in and eclipse things out. The full moon lunar eclipses are much more famous for eclipsing things out, as they do tend to be an energy of releasing as well as harvest. And we're going to talk about both of those themes and energies during this video. And the solar eclipses are known more often than not for bringing things in, and we will have a beautiful Libra solar eclipse on October 2nd, which will have its own separate video, but you're going to see in this video some of the energies that we have aligning for that already, and the foreshadowing, if you will, for the energies of that particular eclipse as well. So we're moving through this beautiful continuum of energy. Things are being removed, and because we are in a quantum leap year, and because this year is all about aligning us with that highest timeline, this eclipse season is going to feel, like we said, that much more dramatic because that entire old timeline for some people is what's being eclipsed out. I've described this in some of the videos that I've done recently as that old timeline booting us out. We are no longer a vibrational match to it. And so it seems like the entire world is imploding in order to birth what is next for us, in order to get us moving. Because there really is no time to waste here. And I don't want to make this sound like, oh my God, like it's so important, like we have to do all of this right now. That's not what I mean when I say there's no time to waste. I just mean our souls are on a mission here. We as a collective are on a mission. And all those old, outdated, worn storylines, all of those belief systems that no longer fit, all of those stories and traumas that we are attaching ourselves to and overly identifying ourselves with, it's all worn out, it's welcome. And you can feel it too, because even if you're still participating in those old stories and in those old storylines and behaviors, let me know if this resonates in the comments below. But it's almost like you're watching yourself go through the motions, but you're bored with it. It's sort of like a movie that you've watched 100 times and you really, really love the movie at first. But now it's like you know every single line. You know what's going to happen before it even happens. You could sit down and you could write out the entire movie, scene for scene, simply from your memory, right? So it's not thrilling us anymore. It's not exciting us. There may be comfort in the familiarity of always knowing what comes next, but we're not really looking for that anymore. We are in a period where our soul is looking for something greater. Remember, we have Uranus and Taurus right now, and we're going to be talking about these outer planets more extensively in this video because they play such a big part in the energies of eclipse season, as well as the 9/9 portal energies. And I'm recording this the day after the 9/9. It's actually 9/10 as I'm recording this. But remember, these energies really ebb and flow throughout the entire month that these portal dates represent. So the 9/9 may have passed that exact date, but the energies and themes that we're working with, these energies of closure, of releasing, of letting go, of surrendering, of purification and cleansing, they ripple on throughout the month. So we have Uranus in that sign of Taurus, really shaking us up, right? Taurus is the bull. Taurus is known for being steadfast, for being fixed earth, for being very grounded and stable and immovable in some ways. But this Taurus and Uranus in Taurus doesn't allow that. Uranian energy can be stabilized to a certain point, but it's always going to be unpredictable. It's always going to be evolving and expanding. And so within the sign of Taurus, and anyone who is a Taurus natally, or any of the fixed signs, sun sign, rising, moon, any of your major placements, you're going to be able to relate to this because we have been feeling it ever since Uranus entered Taurus back in 2018. This kind of electrical buzz under the surface, this inability to settle into those stagnant routines anymore, this need to mix things up, this need to create something that resonates more deeply for us, to explore our world, the shifting and changing in our value systems, in the way we see and value and honor ourselves, the way we see, value, and honor this planet and nature, right? These are very Taurian themes and energies, as well as money and finance, and the way we approach that, the way that we earn that, the way that we understand, honestly, even, and look at the energy of money. Uranus and Taurus is revolutionizing the money system as well, and it is revolutionizing the way that we relate to money. And this is a big theme. I really didn't expect to be talking about this. I love the way these energies, it just kind of like goes where it wants to go, right? This is a big theme for light workers, because many of us come in with these wounds from past lifetimes, with these past vows of poverty, with this idea that money is evil and that we are not meant to have abundance, that somehow a life of service to humanity means a life of servitude, and it means living beneath our means, right? Being humble and connecting this energy of humility to this energy of poverty, which is not what humility is at all. Humility is having a very clear understanding of who and what we are, of our strengths and our weaknesses, but not comparing ourselves to others in a better or worse type of scenario. Simply knowing and understanding where we're at. And honestly, I believe seeing everybody on that even playing field, right? And this is something that we've talked about in a lot of videos, this importance of understanding that no soul is better or more important than anybody else. We're all simply at different levels of evolution, all simply having our own experience. So there's an interesting energy coming through here with Uranus and Taurus as well. And the importance of honoring each other's paths, knowing and understanding that we all have a different path to our evolution. Our souls chose different lessons. We're moving through those, and Taurus energy really wants to remind us of this. We're moving through those lessons and that evolution at our own pace. And that pace is going to look different for everybody. The only mission that each and every one of us has is to honor another's pace and to not focus on everybody else's pace, but to focus on our own pace and how it is that we individually are moving forward, right? This has energies of divine timing and how that divine timing is different for every single person. So honoring our own timing and honoring the timing of others. Uranus is a planet and an energy that very much represents timelines and our ability to move through timelines. Uranian energy is attached and connected to the Akashic records, to the collective memory field of creation, all of the information, all of the documentation, if you will, for those who aren't familiar with the Akashic records, of everything that ever has happened, ever will happen, ever could happen, all the infinite possibilities. So when we tap into Uranian energy, we are tapping into the infinite field of possibility. So with Taurus energy, there's a powerful energy of bringing through those infinite potentials and possibilities and timelines, and bridging that into the physical reality. And why are we talking about Uranus, you might ask? We are talking about Uranus because of that beautiful minor grand trine that we've been talking about between Neptune in the final degrees of Pisces, Uranus in the final degrees of Taurus, and Pluto in the final degree of Capricorn, that 29th anaretic degree, which Pluto will be at until November, when Pluto shifts completely into Aquarius. And by completely, I mean no more retrogrades back into Capricorn. This is it. The fat lady is singing right now when it comes to the energies of Pluto in Capricorn. And many will remember, who caught the video that we did on the ending of the 16-year cycle of Pluto in Capricorn, that Pluto entered Capricorn back in 2008. So this is the completion of a cycle with these Capricorn energies that began in 2008. Uranus began in 2018, and Uranus will be in the final degrees of Taurus until, I believe it's 2026. So we have a little bit of time left with Uranus. Neptune, on the other hand, is going to transit into Aries in March of 2025. So that energy is happening very, very soon. And the energy and the experience of Neptune in Aries is going to be a really activating and empowering energy for light workers and starseeds, I do believe. And we're going to talk about that more as we get closer to that date and that energy. But 2025, that is the big year for the completion of the Neptune in Pisces energy, which began back in 2011. So these are three powerful cycles that we are in the process of completing here. Three powerful journeys within different aspects of the collective consciousness, being that these are collective planets, and also our individual consciousness and our individual journey. The way I see and understand Neptune and Pluto is that they represent the two major aspects of our soul energy. Pluto representing the shadow, the unconscious or the subconscious, and Neptune representing our light, representing the highest version of ourselves, and that interconnectedness with all of creation, the oneness energy and principle. So really powerful, our light and our darkness, so to speak, and the different ways that we evolve our consciousness through connecting to both of these aspects of the self and both of these aspects of our being. And Uranus, like we said, representing that memory field, right? That collective memory field, the Akashic memory field, and these jolting experiences, these unexpected jolting experiences that really cause our consciousness to take a quantum leap forward in evolution and development. That's one way that we can look at this here. There was a really beautiful channeled message that I shared with some people, and anyone who hasn't seen it may want to check it out. It's in the community section from Molly McCord and a channeling she just did regarding these outer planets and the process that they are allowing or offering to us, this invitation for us to begin seeding the new templates for humanity as we move forward into this new earth energy. The way that I described them was almost because they create a really narrow triangle. And it's almost like a window where they're holding space for humanity's evolution and where they are offering access to higher pieces of ourselves, to higher timelines, to higher possibilities. And when we look through this window, and what Spirit's showing me right now is that we can do a really beautiful meditation with this, where we imagine these planets connected. And we can imagine looking through this window. And as we project our consciousness through this window, we're connected to all infinite possibilities. And we can begin placing the seeds of what it is that we would like to experience, it is that we would like to call into being as we move deeper into this ascension process and these new earth energies. Those who are familiar with this channel will know that we have been talking since 2020 about the recoding of the matrix. We can see this evidence through the binary coding of the ones, the twos, and the zeros. Remember, the first major bifurcation happened in 2012, which once again, it was 12/21/2012. 1221 2012. And then when we moved into 2020, 2021, we had these powerful bifurcation points, the two most powerful being 12/20, 12/21/20, and 12/20, 12/21/21. Okay, so you see the repetition of these ones, twos, and zeros here. And then as we moved forward into 2023, we talked about how we had accomplished the recoding of the matrix. And now we're bringing in those creational energies, the three being the energy of the Trinity, right? Divine Mother, Divine Father, Daughter of the Flame, however you want to look at this Trinity of energies, right? The two energies that come together to birth that third energy. And the birthing of this new earth. Now with the four energy, we're in the stabilization period. And I loved in that channeling, Molly McCord talked about how she was being shown a field of dirt and how we were meant to be planting the seeds in that dirt that would then grow into the flowers, which represent the energies and the new templates of the new earth as they begin to blossom in the coming years. And that four energy, that is the stability, that is creating the foundation. So you can see the dirt that she visualized as the foundation. These new templates that we are seeding through our visualizations, through our intentions, through the vibrations in our hearts when we drop in back into love, when we drop into gratitude, when we drop into acceptance and tolerance and compassion for each other. Those are the seeds. Those are the foundation that we are laying for the new earth. And I shared in that post in the community section how as we move into 2025, we're going to be working with the energy of change, and we're going to begin to see some of these changes really becoming evident in our manifested reality. And yes, I am aware that numerologically speaking, this was an 8-year and next year will be a 9-year, and that carries its own energy. But I'm really feeling this as we're building on that energy from 2020 as that final number for each year being significant. So many, many ways to look at these energies. It's all cycles within cycles within cycles, energies within energies within energies, right? Endless and infinite spirals of energy. So that is simply one of these spirals of energy. So I thought that was really, really beautiful. And I wanted to share that message, or at least that portion of it. You can go to the communities tab and you can watch, find the link to the whole video and watch it. Really, really powerful, profound stuff. I wanted to share that with people because I think the importance of the message that Molly shared about planting those seeds right now, it is so, so important as we're moving through this energy. So moving back to this minor grand trine here, we've explored some of the energies of Uranus and Taurus. As we're working with the energies of Neptune in Pisces, and actually I think we're going to do Neptune in Pisces last because that's the most powerful energy that we're working with as far as this eclipse is concerned. So we're going to go over to Pluto and Capricorn before we explore Neptune and Pisces. And if you really want to feel into the Pluto and Capricorn energies, check out the video that I did on that full moon in Capricorn. It's I'll link it in the description box, or I'll link it at the end of this video for people who want to watch it, because I really went in depth into the energies there. But it's essentially about stepping into our authority, taking back our power, right? Pluto represents, yes, our soul's evolution, yes, the shadow and the unconscious, but also alchemy, transformation, death and rebirth, and yes, power. And Pluto represents the journey to our power, and how that journey to our greatest power, our greatest light, only comes through delving into the greatest depths of our darkness. And every time Pluto transits a sign, Pluto initiates and activates that area within our collective psyche, as well as within our individual lives, and brings it into a higher and higher form. Pluto represents a powerful initiating and activating force within the astrological ages. Pluto moves through a sign multiple times during an astrological age. And every time Pluto moves through that sign, it's a deeper level of transformation and clearing, a deeper delve into some of the darkness associated with that sign, so that we can then extract the most light and experience and work with the highest vibration of that energy. So Pluto is completing Capricorn right now. And as Pluto moves into Aquarius, Pluto's going to begin his first round of transforming those Aquarian energies and really ushering in this new age of Aquarius. And then in 2044 or so, when Pluto moves into Pisces, Pluto will be completing the final sweep through the Pisces energies to close out the age of Pisces. So that's just a little side note about these energies of Pluto. Right now in the sign of Capricorn, Pluto has been transforming our relationship to authority, both our own inner authority and external authority. And what I'm being shown right now is a Jungian principle or concept. This would be Carl Jung. And so he talks about this energy of the shadow and how when we don't express the shadow and we repress it, it ends up coming out and being mirrored back to us in the outside world. And we know this happens anyway, right? Everything is a mirror. But when we condense that energy by not expressing it, then it gets acted out to us from the outside. And so this is a powerful energy with Pluto and Capricorn. The outside energies and entities that have been oppressing us and have been controlling this world, one of the only reasons that they were able to do that was because we had no inner authority. We were fooled in many ways into thinking that we did, but we had really given our inner authority, our power away to anything and everything that was going to make our life easier. Right? This is what humanity has been trained to do. Oh, I don't want to think about that. Let's leave that to somebody else. Oh, that's a really big issue, but we're just going to vote for this person who we know isn't going to do anything to change that. And we're just going to hope that maybe they will, and just put the responsibility for all of that in their court, right? We've been doing this with friends. We've been doing this with lovers. We've been doing this with family. We've been doing this with any of these institutions, right? I'm just going to hand that power over to you. And for some people, it's like, because you know better than me, which we are sorely mistaken about that, right? And for some, it's just like, because I don't want to think about it. I don't want to deal with it. And yes, this world has been structured so that we have so much on our plates that most people really don't have the luxury of thinking about a lot of this stuff, right? And that's all by design too. That's all another system that Pluto has been breaking down since 2008. And there are a lot of great astrologers out there who will tell you like the different things that happen during the different years. That's not really where I place my energy, my time, and my focus oftentimes. I do feel as though I do remember somebody saying that we had a major market crash or stock market crash or something of significance happened back in 2008. I was alive then, but I was very much in my own world and I barely knew what was going on around me. Okay, there's a lot of significance with my own spiritual journey and how that really took off when Neptune entered the sign of Pisces, and I'll get into that in a moment. But before that time, I don't even know what was going on. You know, that was a few years after I graduated high school. I was an absolute mess. So you can let me know in the comments if you remember what major financial things or major world events were going on in 2008 when Pluto first entered Capricorn. But Pluto's been breaking those systems down. And Pluto has been showing us what happens when we give our power away to something or someone outside of ourselves. Pluto has been walking us through a process of taking that power and taking our sovereignty back. Not only has Pluto been bringing down and exposing secrets, right? Because Pluto rules secrets. It rules that 8th house, that Scorpio house. It's been exposing the secrets. It's been bringing things to light, not only within the collective, and within these greater structures of power that we have erected and then basically left to their own devices, right? That's where the problem lies, right? With great power comes great responsibility. If we are not willing to take responsibility, then we cannot own our power. So there's been a process of accountability here. There's been a process of us learning about responsibility. Remember, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And this is why we saw major events transpiring when we had that powerful conjunction of Saturn and Pluto at 22 degrees of Capricorn in January of 2020, right before the pandemic and all of that crazy stuff happened and all of the world really began to shift. All right, so that was a big energy there. We're still feeling the effects of that one. So responsibility, right? Taking responsibility, owning what is ours, recognizing what is not ours as well. This is equally important. And really this redistribution of power and this willingness to step into the level of responsibility necessary in order to truly wield our own power. Yes, the 29th degree, the anaretic degree, the completion point is intense. However, we've been working at this for a long time. And remember, Capricorn ruled by Saturn. Saturn rewards hard work, just as Pluto rewards the willingness to go deep, the willingness to recognize truth and act upon that truth. So if we have been doing those things, then there are great rewards to be had as we move through this final degree of Capricorn for this final time. And this is where we bring in the energy of the harvest. We talked about the full moon as a time of not only releasing, but also of harvest. This is one of those harvest points. Where have you put your energy and your focus? Where have you learned boundaries and responsibility, patience, perseverance, showing up? Where have you diligently toiled away, in a sense, put your energy, invested your time into something that made you feel more empowered, more sovereign? There are rewards coming for that. And you'll know where this area is by looking at your astrological chart and identifying these final degrees of Capricorn. And if anybody wants any assistance with this and you want to look over your natal chart or your transit chart, these are readings that I do along with a whole bunch of other stuff that's all found on my website, which is linked in the description box below. So now we move to Pisces. Beautiful, beautiful Neptune in Pisces. Neptune very, very strong in the sign of its rulership. And this is one of those powerful clearing points too. We talked about Capricorn, or rather Pluto. And we talked about the role that Pluto plays in the astrological ages and the precession of these ages. Neptune plays a part as well, I do believe. And Neptune in Pisces has really been a powerful point of integration for these Piscean themes. Because remember, we move out of one age and into another. It doesn't mean that like, whoo, glad we're done with that. And we just forget everything that we learned. This is a 26,000 year cycle, okay? So we're talking about cycle completion, right? The 9-9 energy, the energies of September are about completion. There's no bigger completion than completing a 26,000 year cycle. And that is part of the process that we're in right now as well. So Neptune for this roundabout has been in Pisces since 2011, 2012. And we know this happens because of the retrograding. We saw this happening with Pluto over the last couple of years. Pluto enters Aquarius, retrogrades back into Capricorn, re-enters Aquarius, and so forth. So 2011, 2012, when Neptune entered the sign of Pisces for this last go-around. But Neptune has been within Pisces many years as we moved through the age of Pisces. And this has been a powerful clearing point and a powerful up-leveling and sort of a test, if you will, of these energies and our relationship to these Piscean themes and energies. This is, of course, learning the art of surrender, of letting go. This is looking at and examining energies of escapism, where it is that we attempt to escape our reality. And there were some powerful messages that came through regarding this as well. And Spirit really wanted to emphasize the importance of not trying to escape from our current reality. I shared once a really simple message that I received from Spirit, which said you transcend the third dimension by enjoying and loving it completely. That's the key. It's not pulling away from it. It's diving deeper into it. This is what Pluto teaches us as well. It's diving deeper into it. We call it being fully incarnated on this channel. When you are fully entrenched in the experience of being alive, of being right here, right now. A lot of people think of the ascension as this escape. Oh, we finally get to escape this third dimension. You know, you hear a lot of people talking about, this is my last lifetime on this planet. I'm never coming back here. I don't know why I came back here to begin with, right? We have all of these energies. And there's a video, I forget the name of the gentleman who did it. I'm just becoming familiar with him now, but he talks about the different types of spiritual ego or spiritual personalities, and the spiritual escapist. That's one of the 15 types he discusses. And it's that spiritual escapism. That's what Spirit really wanted to highlight with this Neptune and Pisces transit completing. We're not here to escape this reality. We chose to come here to have this experience. And we're not going to transcend it by escaping out of it. And we're not meant to transcend it until we complete it. The completion is the point of transcendence. So it's not focusing on getting away, getting up, getting out. It's focusing on being here right now and really grounding into this energy, because that's the way that we seed the light on this planet. The star seeds, the light workers, we are the lighthouses. Many of us are here simply to transmit that high vibrational or energy to the planet. And we do that by being fully rooted and grounded in this experience, by connecting our lower chakras, by grounding into them, by grounding into this earth. And by not looking and thinking about the chance to get away, right? Reminds me of the same thing. And addictions is part of this energy of the Pisces and Neptunian energies that we're working through. So it's perfect that that's coming into my awareness right now. I used to say in my early years of recovery that the key that I found that helped me to stay clean was creating a life that I did not feel the need to escape from. We are here to create an earth that we don't feel the need to escape from. We're here to bring heaven to earth, right? Bring heaven to earth, not escape earth for heaven, not abandon this planet for what else, the other realms that exist, to ground that energy into this experience right here. We can't bring heaven to earth if we spend all our time trying to escape it. So this is really, really important. Spirit really wanted to emphasize the importance of that and the importance of not tuning out and disconnecting. This is how we stay disconnected from our spirits, through escapism, right? And it's interesting, right, that Neptune represents the spirit, represents the collective consciousness, represents the higher self. And yet a lot of Neptunian energies, people, Piscean people, 12th house people. I am a 12th house person myself, so I get it. All right. We spend so much time trying to escape, but we disconnect from our spirits in the process. There are healthy escapes and there are unhealthy escapes. And these are going to look different for other people. And sometimes Spirit's reminding me, it depends on how often you do these things and why you do them. People with strong 12th house placements like myself, strong Pisces placements, a strong Neptune in their charts, need to tap out for some time. We need to escape. We need to unplug, so to speak, to recharge. And sometimes doing this through things like watching a program or reading a book are fine. But we want to make sure that we're cultivating the spiritual practices that help us unplug and plug in at the same time, right? Like meditation, like breath work. So that's what Spirit really wants to emphasize here. Find ways that you can both tune out and tune in. Being out in nature, there's a natural clearing that happens here. So it's all the ways that we can reconnect with our spiritual selves and really build that life that we don't need to escape from, build that planet that we no longer need or feel the need to escape from. Other Piscean themes that we are working through are victimhood, powerlessness. There is a paradigm that we've been shifting out of within this collective for quite some time, and that's the victim-perpetrator cycle, right? There's a victim, there's a perpetrator, and sometimes there's a hero or a rescuer. And a lot of us have taken on these different roles. So it's moving out of those roles, taking our power back, once again, our spiritual power, by deciding there may be a situation in my life where I have been victimized or felt victimized, but I don't have to claim that energy. I get to choose whether I remain a victim or whether I step back into my power. This is not negating the severity of the trauma or experience. This is not an energy that just says, just get over it, right? But allow yourself to heal. There's a point, there becomes a choice point. And many would argue that it's all a choice because we coordinated most of this before we got here. We're not going to get into the AI inverted matrix and all of this and all the ways that that energy has been distorted. But we'll just say there's various layers of this. However, whenever we notice that we have allowed ourselves or fallen into an experience of victimhood, we get the choice of whether to stay there or not. It's the same thing as saying like pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So it's that energy and that point that many people are coming to where it's like, all right, am I going to wallow in this or am I going to pick myself up? And with the Pisces energy, it's not us doing this alone. We're calling on spirit. We're calling on our higher selves. We're calling on the beautiful benevolence, the legion of beautiful, benevolent love light that is available to us always if we just ask for help. And then we're being willing to recognize the help. It's like understanding the responsibility that we have to help ourselves, but also the balance of receiving. One of the ways that we help ourselves is by accepting the help that's offered, right? Being open to that. So with all of this stuff, there's many, many different layers that we're working through, but we're releasing the energy of being the victim. We're releasing the energy of seeing ourselves as powerless, as seeing us as somebody who needs to be rescued. We are becoming our own knight in shining armor, essentially. That's another aspect of moving through these Piscean themes and energies. It's also about taking ownership for the fact that we create our reality. Like I said, there's multiple layers to this process. All right, some of it we created and agreed to before we came here. Some of it has been inverted through the inverted AI matrix and all of the control tactics and all the dark psychological and spiritual warfare that goes on here. All right, so there are levels of that as well. But when we take ownership of our own energy and really step into our sovereignty and our power, as Pluto is showing us, we can really make a significant change in our reality. We can take back control, if you will, in concert in beautiful co-creation with the higher self. So it's like we have to call on all of these planets. We have to call on all of these energies in order to help with this. That beautiful Uranian energy comes in. This connects us even more powerfully to past lifetimes, past soul gifts and abilities. We're going to feel a lot of those activations coming through as we're moving through this energy as well, as we're aligning with the highest timeline, that highest version of ourselves. We're going to feel those spiritual gifts coming back, especially as we step back into our power and our sovereignty, as we complete these cycles that have been going on for lifetimes after lifetimes after lifetimes, right? Lifetimes where we've given our power away. Lifetimes where we have felt victimized and owned and claimed that role of the victim. That's the difference. Okay, that's what I was trying to put into words here that Spirit wants to clarify a little better. There's having a circumstance where we were victimized, and there's claiming and owning the title and the energy of being a victim. Those are two very different things. Two people can experience the same situation. One person will see themselves as a victim. The other person will see that as an opportunity to grow and heal and evolve and become more empowered. One person identifies with the victim energy. The other person does not. That is the difference. All right, so I hope that was clear. So why is it that these Neptune energies are so important right now? Well, of course, because we have the moon joining Neptune during this lunar eclipse in Pisces. We have the moon joining Neptune, who is loosely conjunct Saturn. Saturn's a bit far away. I wouldn't consider this a conjunction anymore, but because of how active Saturn has been, because Saturn is in the sign of Pisces, because Saturn has been active in other major astrological events lately, as well as in those opening squares with Jupiter that began during, was it the last full moon? I do believe it was the full moon in Aquarius, right? That began during that time and those opening squares that are going to go until June. So we're still within that process, the opening squares relating to the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Another major initiating air energy into the age of Aquarius. Saturn is still very relevant here. And Saturn is opposing Mercury in Virgo during this eclipse, while the sun in Virgo is, of course, opposing the moon in Pisces. So we're at 25, the later degrees of 25, moving toward 26 degrees of Pisces and Virgo, respectively, here. So we have that beautiful opposition of the sun and the moon. We have the sun with Mercury on one side in that opposition to Saturn in Pisces, Mercury in Virgo. And then on the other side of the sun, we have a stellium in Libra. And this stellium is going to be even more important as we move into the solar eclipse in Libra on October 2nd. Mercury is going to move into Libra and be combined with this stellium of planets that includes Venus, Juno, the asteroid of partnership and marriage, the South Node. It's going to be a big conglomeration of energies really focusing in on that relational aspect of our experience and those old relational templates that we are clearing out with that South Node energy. The North Node is opposing the South Node as always. And so the South Node is in an out of sign conjunction with the sun right now. The sun in the late degrees of Virgo, the North Node in the early degree, or the South Node rather, in the early degrees of Libra. We have the North Node in the early degrees of Aries, loosely conjunct Neptune. So the North Node at 6 degrees of Aries, Neptune at 28 degrees of Pisces in retrograde currently. And then the moon, of course, at 25, almost 26 degrees of Pisces, connected with Neptune here. So we can see with the nodes active, even more active in a sense, during the second eclipse that we're going to have, the solar eclipse in Libra, really calling us forward and emphasizing this karmic clearing, this energy of destiny and fate, moving us into soul alignment, right? The moon representing the soul, representing that fourth house, the bedrock of the soul, as I see the fourth house, as well as the home and family and all of those Cancerian energies, our intuition. So merging that, our higher intuition, it's a very high priestess vibe that I feel from this full moon, bringing in, activating those psychic gifts and abilities and moving us toward our purpose, our path, our dharma with that North Node energy. And we're going to talk about the nodes a lot more as they are in a completion period too. Completing their cycle in Aries for the North Node and Libra for the South Node. And what are they going to be moving into? We're going to have the North Node moving into Pisces soon and the South Node into Virgo. So really carrying through these themes and energies. And I believe that is midway through 2025 that we're going to have that shift of the nodes around June or July 2025. If I'm wrong, I'll put a correction in the comments, pin it in the comments below as I do sometimes. So if I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure. So it's really interesting how we have these themes and it's kind of like an interchange of energies here. As the North Node meets Neptune, Neptune in Pisces, the North Node in Aries, and then Neptune shifts into Aries and the North Node shifts into Pisces. So these two bodies, if you will, being that the North Node is a calculated point. It's not an actual planet, right? But Neptune, yes, an actual planet, but the most etheric and elusive of all the planets. They are going to have a conjunction here as they are exchanging or sort of swapping energies, so to speak. And Neptune is going to be carrying the torch for many years to come through that sign of Aries. So this is a big energy that we're preparing for as well. So we're completing these Aries and Libra themes, which we're going to get into more extensively in the October 2nd total solar eclipse video. But suffice to say, it's clearing out those old relational templates, really completing this cycle of evolving into that Aries energy, evolving our masculine energy into a higher form. And the Mars retrograde at the end of the year is going to be working with this as well, being the ruler of Aries. In 2020, we had a powerful Mars retrograde in the sign of Aries. Mars was in Aries for like 5 or 6 months. It was a big deal. It was 2020 or 2021. But we've been working through these themes and energies. We've had Chiron in Aries. Chiron moving into the later degrees of Aries now. It's going to be several years that Chiron is still in Aries, but there still is an energy of completion there. So it's just completion upon completion upon completion. And that Aries energy is all about stepping into our power, right? Owning our masculine energy, exerting our will, but learning how to do that. And we have Mars right now in the sign of Cancer, really teaching us how to use our intuition, how to use our inner knowing as our guide. And yes, giving us lessons into when we let our emotions rule us and showing us how to find that middle ground where we're not reactive. We're not acting on pure emotion and flying off the cuff when we get triggered, right? But we're tapping into that deeper knowingness within us. Mars in Cancer, Mars is not comfortable in Cancer, but Mars learns a lot in Cancer. And Mars is actually squaring the nodes right now, as we have Jupiter and Gemini squaring the sun and the moon during this eclipse. So there's another element and another energy. Jupiter in Gemini. And remember, Mars and Gemini recently had a conjunction. They came together in the side of Gemini, and that was very powerful. So it's interesting that each of them is creating these T-squares. Mars with the nodes and Jupiter with the sun and the moon here. And we can see these energies all as kind of connected because they are relatively close together, right? It's all interplaying. So Jupiter in Gemini, still wanting to be open-minded, still wanting to expand, to gather information, to gather knowledge. And Mars in Cancer, helping to intuit and sort of discern through all of that what is important by using the inner senses, by using the inner sight, by feeling its way through situations. There's so much expansion that is possible with that Jupiter and Gemini energy here. We've talked about the spiritual war. We've talked about psychological warfare. We are also in a war for information. And so Jupiter and Gemini is gathering that information. It's gathering the intel. It's talking with Pluto. So Pluto not directly connected to Jupiter at this time, but still the keeper of the secrets, right? And Neptune in retrograde, the great revealer of secrets. Neptune representing illusion, representing fantasy, where it is that we mislead ourselves, where it is that we tell ourselves the comfortable truth or the comfortable lie instead of facing the uncomfortable truth. When Neptune goes retrograde, the veil is lifted. All right, so there are some uncomfortable truths coming into our awareness right now. There are secrets being revealed. There's information being gathered by Jupiter in Gemini. But then we are being asked to take that information, to sit with it, to feel through it, to discern, right? Virgo energy, very big about discernment. To discern and distill the truth and to act upon that truth as we are intuitively guided to act. So really big stuff with this lunar eclipse. Really pushing us forward, like we said, along that highest timeline. Aligning us deeply and powerfully with our souls. Assisting us and inviting us to ground that energy into our physical world and to apply it to the physical world. This axis of Virgo and Pisces, I call the axis of consciousness and service. And it is very much about these things, sacrifice and service, another big theme of these energies, these Piscean energies. We've talked about this before. What is a worthy sacrifice? And where do we sacrifice too much? Boundaries, very important. There are so many themes that we could get into. But the importance, what we're distilling from this, one of the most powerful aspects of this Virgo-Pisces axis also has to do with balancing the practical and the spiritual, right? The two fish, the duality of Pisces energy. But it's understanding that they're not separate. Just like all the signs, right? If we look at this as the two fish, or if we look at this as the two signs, Virgo and Pisces, they are complementary. They're two sides to the same coin. Everything that we experience is spiritual in nature because we are spiritual beings. And we can recognize that fact, and we can consciously bring the spiritual into the physical, into our everyday practices, into the way we approach our relationships, the way we approach our job, the way we approach our daily tasks of living. This is what we're being asked to do. This is another aspect of the energy of bringing heaven to earth. Right? Really big, powerful stuff here. And we're being assisted in this process by a grand earth trine between Pluto in Capricorn, the sun in Virgo, and let me see here, Uranus and Taurus. So this is a beautiful, beautiful energy. Bringing through, allowing for that stabilization, allowing for that grounding in of all these energies, and the practical grounded approaches. Remember, wisdom is applied knowledge. We are tapping into the multidimensionality of our souls, the deep wisdom of our higher selves, and we're being invited to apply that within our own individual realities, which then ripples out into the collective reality as well, right? It starts with each of us. We are all a ripple, and as each of us creates a ripple together, that ripple becomes a wave. And this is the greatest service that we can perform for humanity. It's in how we live our daily lives, where our vibration is at daily, how it is that we pay it forward in small ways, how it is that we offer ourselves in loving service in a balanced way that does not deplete us, but only fills us up more. When we are being of service through the purity of the heart, it is an energy that overflows instead of depletes. And if you are being of service to anybody in your reality right now, and you're feeling drained and depleted afterwards, and that's a sign that you need to take better care of you. That the best service that you can do right now is self-care and service to yourself in the ways of replenishing your own energy. This lunar eclipse is really going to show us where it is that our energy, we're doing a really good job of filling up our cup, so to speak, or where it is that we have been depleting our energy. And it's giving us a really powerful opportunity to rest and recharge. I feel like some people may be coming down with colds, coming down with flus, things like that. If that is happening to you, if you're just feeling drained in general, it's because of the purge and the clearing that is happening right now. So just allow for that and take really good care of yourself. If you want to drop into higher alignment and resonance with your beautiful soul self, I have a new guided meditation. It is free for you to download. The information on how to do that, and the link for that is in the description box as well as pinned in the comments below. I love you. I honor you. I respect you so much. If you want any personal assistance on this journey, please reach out to me. If you want to book an astrology reading, a tarot reading, an energy healing session, all the stuff that I do is listed on my website, and that is found in the description box below as well. If you are new to this channel and you are still watching, you belong here. Welcome to the tribe. Go ahead and click subscribe. Make sure that you like this video, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.